Well, tech billionaires are buying nuclear reactors and training robot armies. Something far more terrifying is happening right now under our noses. 84 million American families right now are financing their groceries with buy now, pay later loans. This isn't people paying for Teslas or buying vacation homes or something like that on credit. This is families who can't afford food without debt. To put that in perspective, that's more people than the entire population of Germany. It's more than the United Kingdom. It's more than France. Imagine every single person in Germany, from infants to the elderly, having to get out their credit cards just to get a meal. That's the scale of our grocery financing apocalypse going on right now in this very country. It's an entire European nation's worth of Americans who can't afford food without credit cards. The economic reality is brutal. 41% of people using these loans are missing payments on groceries. Companies like DoorDash are offering buy now, pay later plans specifically to align with customers' needs, waiting until they get their next paychecks. And that's kind of corporate speak for, we know you're too broke to afford dinner until Friday, so we'll do this for you. This isn't happening in some collapsing third world country. It's happening right here in the United States in June of 2025. Look at the contrast that perfectly captures our economic dystopia. Meta is purchasing entire nuclear reactors to power their AI systems, while 84 million Americans can't purchase dinner without debt. And what's most disturbing, our media analysis shows almost no mainstream coverage connecting these economic dots. While news outlets breathlessly report on Meta's clean energy initiative, they're completely silent about millions of Americans financing basic nutrition to survive another week. This isn't a future economic problem. It's a now survival crisis, and it's hitting Generation X really hard. We're caught between supporting aging parents and paying for children's or grandchildren's educations while watching our careers become increasingly precarious. DoorDash didn't create a buy now, pay later option for food delivery because people wanted financial flexibility. They created it because their data showed customers couldn't afford to eat without financing options. Think about that. An algorithm determined Americans needed loans to buy their Big Macs. And please, if you'd take a second, hit that like and subscribe button so it can support this channel and push it out to more people who need to hear it in our generation, which is a lot. Remember, way back when I quoted that only 6% of us in this generation, in the Generation X time period, know about AI or even, or what it is, what it can do. 6% of us. So please hit that like and subscribe button. It does support this channel. It pushes it out to other people. And keep commenting. As you know, I really enjoy the comment section, and I try to kind of get back to everybody if I can. We don't talk much about politics or religion or people's kids or money. Those are things you try to stay away from. I mean, you can talk about their kids if it's something nice, but you don't say, man, your kid's an idiot. That doesn't seem to be received too well, I've found. I've tried it a couple of times. Each time it just seems like, it's not the way to do it. So I would appreciate it. And on the screen behind me back here is Wilmer Woodworks. Mr. Wilmer is a friend of mine, and he's got a YouTube channel. He just got started not very long ago, and he's a great woodworker, and he makes all kinds of neat projects. And right now he's working on a car, or he's getting ready to start on a car. It's a Pontiac Firebird, and I believe it was his high school car, or one of his high school cars. He had several. And he's going to be restoring that. So if you're into that sort of thing, check out Wilmer Woodworking. I know he would appreciate it, and I would appreciate it as well. So, and that's nothing sponsored that I get paid for. It's just a friend of mine. And I don't know, I like giving shout outs to people that are working their butts off to try to, make a go of this YouTube thing. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. So again, give him a shout, or give him a try if you would. I would really appreciate it. Okay, just a few days ago, Procter & Gamble announced they're cutting 7,000 non-manufacturing jobs, 15% of their office workforce, specifically citing leveraging digitization and automation as the reason. This isn't a tech company. This is a 186-year-old maker of Tide, Bounty, and my favorite, Pampers. Our analysis of media coverage reveals something striking. I like that, our analysis. Our staff got together and determined. My analysis of media coverage reveals something, I don't know if it's striking, but it's weird. Well, Reuters, CNN, and CBS News did cover these cuts. They buried the automation angle deep in their articles. The headlines emphasize restructuring and tariffs instead of the company's explicit admission about automation. The real story, that AI is eliminating thousands of office jobs at America's oldest consumer goods company, was relegated to paragraph 12 or omitted entirely. And last Wednesday, Walmart announced 1,500 corporate job cuts specifically targeting their technology departments, the very people who would normally be implementing AI systems. In a memo titled "Building for the Future," executives claim they need to adapt to the changing environment. That's corporate speak for AI can do your job now, so goodbye. Bloomberg and CBS News provided limited coverage, but neither mentioned the technology connection. These aren't struggling companies. These are some of the largest, most profitable corporations in America and have been for the last, I don't know how many years, as long as I've been on the planet. They're eliminating white-collar workers while investing billions of dollars in technology. There's a company called Phonely, or Phonely. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Oh, well, who cares? Anyway, Phonely AI just announced they've achieved 99.2% accuracy with their AI phone agents, higher than human performance. Their CEO admits that 70% of people who call into their AI chatbot can't tell that it's a chatbot, not a human. 70%. So this stuff's getting really good. And that one of their biggest customers is replacing 350 human agents with Phonely just this month. Not next year, not gradually, this month, June. And did you hear about this on CNN? Nope. Did you see it on the front page of the New York Times? Of course not. My investigation found zero mainstream media coverage of this complete workforce replacement. Only VentureBeat, in an exclusive interview, bothered to report that hundreds of real people were losing their jobs to voices that you can't tell any different from humans. The technology has conquered what experts call the uncanny valley of voice AI. You hear a lot about the uncanny valley of photos and things, images. But this is the uncanny valley of voice AI. And that's kind of like, it's described as or defined as those subtle clues or cues that make automated conversations feel non-human. By reducing response times by more than 70%, they've eliminated the awkward pause that used to be the only way to identify AI. That made you want to scream agent over and over and over again. And the implementation? To do this, they got to shut down the whole company and bring in all kinds of machines. And nope, takes one day without any interruptions. Zero interruptions, no disruption at all to the company. Their CEO proudly explains that call centers are choosing their technology because they don't have to manage human support agent schedules, train agents, match supply and demand. They just hire these AI agents and all their headaches are gone. Why isn't this news? Why haven't we heard about this anywhere? I don't understand. That's hundreds of people losing their jobs, and the mainstream media just totally ignores it. I guess people's livelihoods just don't make news. And while we are all focusing on obvious automation targets like factory workers, the creative industry has been quietly transformed into AI supervision now. Design agencies now openly admit they're making extensive use of AI across daily operations, including brainstorming, concept development, production, and client presentations. That was literally the entire job description until last year, I think. One agency executive candidly admits that AI gets us 80% of what we want, meaning 80% of creative jobs can be automated away, with only the last 20% requiring humans. The job requirements have fundamentally shifted as well. Design positions are becoming less about being a hands-on creator and more about being a director who guides both AI and human teams. The most valuable skills are now knowing AI tools, directing AI like a team member, and resisting algorithmic text speech, which is corporate speak for please add human touches to our AI-generated content so clients don't realize we've replaced our creative department. The agents are still hiring, but for drastically different skills and fewer total positions. And I'm sorry, I do not mean to laugh. It's just, they say one thing and they do something totally different. I guess that goes for a lot of things, politics, news stories. And, my dad likes to argue with me about how, I'm not going to bring that up because it's getting into politics and I don't want to do that. Okay. But one agency leader explained they're not looking for designers, but for people who use AI to mess with their thinking, essentially demoting creative professionals from creators to AI prompt engineers. Remember AI prompt engineers? It's just basically knowing what to say to an LLM to get it to give you the best response, or the response that you were hoping for, the response that you need, the answer to your question. And yet, again, you scan the technology or business sections of major news outlets, you won't find headlines about the fundamental transformation of creative work. Instead, you'll find stories celebrating AI's creative potential with barely a mention of the jobs being eliminated. And while our debt is piling up, Amazon announced a $10 billion investment in North Carolina data centers that will at least create 500 direct jobs. That's $20 million spent per job if you want to calculate it out. Possibly the worst job creation ROI in human history. Meta is purchasing entire nuclear reactors to power their AI systems. These companies need so much electricity that they're securing dedicated power sources that can generate energy equivalent to power the entire cities. Interestingly, or maybe not, when I was looking around for these stories, this type of story received the most coverage. Meta's nuclear power deal was reported by Reuters, Associated Press, CNBC, Bloomberg, CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, and the Washington Post. Headlines celebrated the clean energy deal and grid stability, while barely mentioning the reason why Meta needs a nuclear reactor to power AI systems designed to eliminate human jobs. What's revealing is the contrast with previous investments. Amazon's previous $12 billion investment in North Carolina supported 24,000 jobs, which is about $500,000 per job. But this new AI-focused investment supports just 500 jobs. This is the economic reality of AI, exponentially more capital investment for fewer jobs. And the community benefits? Amazon is generously donating a whopping $150,000 to local communities. That's 0.0015% of their investment. I almost didn't put that line in there because at least they are giving back a little. $150,000 to a town, though. I guess it depends on the town size, but it's not a whole lot. Maybe a couple of people, salaries. I don't know. At least it's something, I guess. They're literally building the infrastructure to eliminate jobs while pretending it's some kind of charitable community initiative. Now, on to you, BI, because you asked for it. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon just published a mathematical proof on May 24th that AI only needs to be 5 to 6 times better than our current automation to fund universal basic income for everyone. Not in some far future Star Trek fantasy. It's by 2031 if capabilities double every 2 years, which, as you know, that's been going faster than every 2 years so far. The billionaires aren't building nuclear reactors for fun. They're building the infrastructure to replace us all while calculating exactly how many crumbs they need to throw back to keep us consuming. and I guess mostly with our credit cards. According to Professor Nayebi of Carnegie Mellon, he calculates we'd only need AI to be modestly better than our current automation to fund everyone getting $12,000 a year to sit on our butts watching Netflix while the machines do all the work. Dang, man, 12 grand a year. Man. If I had that kind of dough, I'd be a king. I'd retire a king. I'd hire everything done. I'd eat out every night. Can you imagine 12 grand a year? That's the mathematical reality of where we're headed. Complete automation with humans surviving on a stipend determined by the companies owning the AI infrastructure. And don't think this isn't the way it's going to be. I hope it's not. But you know what they say about power. Absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I worry about these guys, Elon Musks, the Sam Altmans. I worry, I don't need to name more names, but I worry about them giving control over to even governments. If you want to carry that out, and, you can carry it out way out, and we're either here or we're not, basically. But I do worry about the big dogs, so to speak, ceding their power over to somebody else. I wonder if that'll happen. You can let me know in the comments what you think. I think I know what you're going to say. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Trillion-dollar tech companies building nuclear-powered AI infrastructure while 84 million Americans can't afford groceries without debt. This isn't Uncle Rod making stuff up. It's documented economic mathematics. While economists are calculating exactly how much better AI needs to be to replace all human labor and fund UBI, Amazon is already building an actual humanoid park to train physical robots to spring out of delivery vans and take the last remaining jobs that require legs and hands. They're not even building the robots themselves. They're just developing the AI software to run on hardware made by companies like Agility Robotics. The CEO of Agility stated their goal is to let employees hand off work to humanoids and become a robot manager. The only place I found that story was Reuters, and while Amazon builds Terminators to replace your UPS driver, Walmart and Google are launching aerial drones to deliver packages in 5 new cities. They're calling it redefining retail, which is corporate speak for redefining unemployment. And they're not hiding it anymore. Wing CEO Adam Woodworth said that their entire business model depends on scaling the number of drones and flights without adding any more personnel, which means no more people, just fewer humans for more work. Interestingly, drone delivery received a lot of coverage from CBS News, Washington Post, NBC News, and Reuters, but it was framed entirely as an innovation story with minimal to zero discussion of delivery workers' displacement. Headlines celebrated pushing the boundaries of convenience rather than addressing the obvious question, what happens to the delivery drivers? Just last month, as we reported, Anthropic CEO Dario Amati predicted that AI could eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 1 to 5 years. Now his own researchers are saying it's very likely in 2 years and almost overdetermined in 5. One Anthropic researcher even warns of a pretty terrible decade ahead as AI eliminates desk jobs before robotics catches up to create new opportunities. And the scariest part, they admit the current suite of algorithms is sufficient. Not future AI, but today's AI is sufficient. It's all they need to make this happen. Amazon spending billions now on infrastructure, Procter & Gamble and Walmart cutting thousands of jobs. What was predicted for 2030 is happening in June of 2025. The gradual adaptation many experts promised simply isn't materializing. We're witnessing an exponential acceleration that's catching even AI researchers by surprise. And the media strategy is clear. Cover the infrastructure and innovation stories while minimizing or completely ignoring the direct workforce replacement. Stories about Meta's nuclear power deal received wall-to-wall coverage, while phonily replacing 350 humans with AI this month received zero mainstream attention. This pattern holds across the stories that I've examined. Now, in a new segment we're going to call For Those Who Care. For those who care about staying employed while this invisible takeover continues, let me show you where the actual jobs are still being created in this AI-saturated landscape. As we said, Amazon's $10 billion investment is creating 500 data center positions for data center engineers, network specialists, engineering operation managers, and security specialists in Richmond County, North Carolina. These are highly competitive jobs requiring specialized technical skills, but they do exist. In creative fields, agencies are still hiring for people with AI literacy who can direct AI like a team member and push AI beyond generic results. They're looking for people who can use AI tools to innovate rather than just execute. Fewer total positions, but higher demand for those who can truly differentiate themselves. There's also growing demand for guardian agents, which are humans who monitor AI systems along with ethics officers to ensure AI compliance, and quality assurance specialists to verify AI outputs. These often require both technical knowledge and industry expertise. If you're looking to remain employed in the rapidly transforming landscape, focus on the human oversight. We talk about this a lot. Quality control, creative direction, those roles that still require human judgment. The jobs aren't disappearing entirely. They're transforming into positions that guide and verify AI outputs rather than produce them directly. The key is positioning yourself at that human-AI boundary we always talk about, where your judgment, ethics, and creativity still matter. The sobering reality is that these transformations aren't coming, they're here. The invisible takeover has already occurred in many sectors, and most people simply haven't noticed yet. To me, it seems that there's a clear pattern of selective attention that emphasizes corporate deals and infrastructure stories while minimizing or completely ignoring direct job displacement. The most alarming stories, like Phonely's complete replacement of 350 human agents, receive zero mainstream coverage, while Meta trying to power their AI by buying a nuclear reactor makes front-page news. While tech optimists debate whether AI will eventually replace jobs and politicians argue about hypothetical future AI regulations, 350 call center agents are losing their jobs. While economists publish papers about the future of work, Procter & Gamble is cutting 7,000 non-manufacturer positions right now. And perhaps most horrifying of all, 84 million Americans are financing their groceries. That's 25% of us, guys. 1 in 4 families are financing groceries. How do we let this happen? What are we going to do to stop it? Who's going to stand up and say, you can't eliminate all the jobs. How are we going to survive on $12,000 a year? Do you know? I don't know. Last time I had to survive on $12,000 a year, that's probably 22 or 3. Tried to start a business, failed, scrambling to make money. I don't want to go through that again. Do you? So either we've got to go back to school, keep pivoting like I always talk about, learn all we can constantly, and hope that we can stay ahead of the job slashing, hope we can remain employed until such time that somebody comes along and says, $12,000 isn't that much. Maybe we better up that. It's going to be a bumpy road. And of course, Generation X is right in the middle of it as usual. We seem to be the bridge, don't we? We're the bridge from one thing to another. And I think the generation before us, the boomers, they had a pretty good generation. Seemed like they had a lot of fun. I hear a lot of stories from my parents, but we had a lot of fun too, or at least I did. I loved growing up. I love being a Generation Xer. I know I'm either the first or second year. I think I'm in the first year of Generation Xer. I've had somebody say, "You're not Generation X." Thanks. In other words, they're saying I'm a boomer. I look older than Generation X. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, they still card my wife at the grocery stores, and when we go out to eat, then they look at me and just smile. Is this your daughter, Grandpa? Your granddaughter? Yeah, shut up. There goes your tip. We're already living in the AI future, and it was supposed to be many years away. But, it's not gradual, it isn't fair, and it's not waiting for us to adapt. The question isn't whether we should prepare for AI's impact on jobs. It's whether we can recognize that it's already happened right under our noses. And perhaps more importantly, why the mainstream conversation remains so disconnected from the economic extension that's going on right before our eyes. So hit subscribe and like if you want to stay awake to what's really happening in our economy, because the robots are already here and they sound exactly like humans. And they're processing termination paperwork while we debate whether they will ever will. I'll see you in the next one.